What's up everyone, Mackenzie here. This is week 9 of my 12 and 12 challenge. This week I built a Wikipedia type application. So we have users and users able to add an article and then categorize an article, and then a viewer can view the different articles based on the categories. So as always, I'll start by giving you a quick overview of what the final product looks like, and then we will dive in and start coding. So let's start. Alrighty guys, let me quickly give you an overview of what we are going to be building today. So this is my Wikipedia type application. So we have all of our articles, and then we have different categories, and each article is assigned to a specific category. And we can filter between the various categories. Very cool. So obviously nothing fancy on the styling this week. Didn't have much time to do that, but maybe I can set aside more time next week to make it look a bit nicer. Who knows? But anyway, we have the different articles. We can add, edit, and destroy the various categories, but these are created from our Rails console. So there's no form or anything to create a new category. So let's dive in, and I will show you how to build the app. So let's go. So I'm going to open up my terminal. Let me make this full screen, and I'll bump up the size a bit. All right, so I'm going to cd into my 12 and 12 directory, and from here I'm going to do Rails new. And I'm going to just call this wiki. And once that is done installing, I will cd into the wiki application we just created. And let's test it out. So I will do Rails S to run the Rails server. Then let's open up Chrome. All right, I'll open up Chrome and then make this full screen. I'm just going to go to localhost port 3000. All right, welcome aboard for writing Ruby on Rails. If you want to see more about your application, like what Ruby versions you're using, just click on About Your Application's Environment. It'll show that all to you. For example, I'm using Ruby 2.1.1 and Rails version 4.1.5. All right, from here, let's go back to our terminal, and I'm going to open up a new tab. Let's see. I'll quit the server. And in the second tab, I'm going to cd into the 12 and 12 directory and into the wiki application. And then from here, I'm going to run the Rails server. And then I'll work in the first tab. All right, so let's first initialize this in Git by doing git init. And then I'll do a git status, and you can see all the untracked files I created. So let's do a git add a dot to add all those files. Then git commit with the message -am with the message initial commit. Alrighty, so one last thing, let's open this up in Sublime by doing sublime dot. And if that doesn't work for you, you'll need to set up a symlink between your terminal and Sublime, and just Google for how to do that. Alright, so the first thing we need to do is create well, first let's open up the gem file, and we are going to add a few gems that we'll be using in this application. So first, I'm just going to clean up the unneeded comments here. All right. So the gems we are going to be using in this application is the HAML gem. So we can use the .haml extension instead of the .erb. In addition to that, we're going to be using Bootstrap for styling, the simple form gem for our forms, and the Devise gem for our user authentication. So let's go to Chrome, open up a new tab, and go to Ruby gems. And I'll search for HAML, and I'm just going to grab the latest for each of these. So gem HAML 4.0.5. Paste that in, and then next I want to get the bootstrap-sass gem. Let's copy the latest 3.3.0.1. All right, and then next, let's do devise. Latest is 3.4.1. And the last one is the simple form. All right. So let's save that, go back to our terminal and run bundle install. And this is going to go out and fetch all of the gems and install them on our system. Then let's go to our server, hit Control-C to end that, and then hit the up arrow and start the server again. That way our application knows about the new gems. So next, let's do a git status. Let's do a git commit-am, add gems, add application gems. All right, so next I want to generate a model for our articles. So I'm going to do Rails G model, and it's going to be called an article model. And for this, we want a title, which is going to be a string, and the content of the article, which is going to be text. So let's do that, hit enter. And you can go to Sublime under the DB migrate folder. You can see it creates a table called articles with the attributes of title and content. And then in the app models folder, it created the article.rb. So now that that is created, what we need to do next is do a Rails generate controller. So we'll do Rails generate controller. We'll do article, Rails generate controller articles, and then hit enter. Okay, and then let's take a look at this in Sublime Text. So under app controllers, articles controller, let's go ahead and define an index for this, which we will be using for our home page. So def index end, and then let's open up our routes file and create some routes for our articles. So I'm going to delete all the comments here. I'm going to do resources and then articles. And then I'm also going to route the articles index action to the home of to the root of this application. So root, I'll do articles pound index. So this is the articles controller with the index action. All right, so now if we go back to our file, let's refresh. Whoops, we forgot to do a migration. So let's go ahead and do that. Do rake db:/migrate. Now refresh. All right, there we go. We get a template is missing error. And that is because we did not create our view file yet. So let's do that under views, articles. Let's create a new file, and we will call this, we'll save this as index.html.haml. And then in this file, I'm just gonna put an h1, say this is the articles pound index placeholder. Save that. Now if we go back and refresh, there we go. So let's add the ability to create a new article. So inside of our articles controller, let's define a few methods. Let's do def new end, def create, and end. And then as well, I want to do a private method for the articles parameters. So I'll do def article underscore params, and then end that. All right, so inside of the def new, what I want to do is @article equals article.new. And then in the def create, what we're going to do is @article equals article.new, but with the article params as a flag. And then we'll do if @article.save redirect to @article, else render the new form, and then end. All right, so let's quickly define what the article params are. So what we want to do is params.require, and what we're requiring is the article, and then we want to permit the different attributes. So we'll do permit, and we'll permit the title and the content. All right, so let's save that. Next, what we want to do is go to articles/new. We are going to get a template is missing error, which we do. So let's create that template. So under views articles, let's create a new file called new.html.haml, and then one more. This is going to be a partial that will render into the new.html.haml file. So we'll do _form.html.haml. All right, so inside of our form, let's do a simple form for @form @article, and then we'll do and f, and then on the next line we'll do f.input, and we'll do an input for the title and f.input for the content, and then believe it's submit. So let's just do that for now. And then go back to new.html.haml. And what we're going to do here is just add a h1 tag and say new article. And then we're going to render the form. And then let's also add a link to the home or the root of our application. So we'll say equals link _to, and then I'll just say back. And then we'll go to root _path. All right, so let's save that, go back, refresh. All right, so undefined method simple form for. All right, so that is because we forgot to do, I forgot to actually install the simple form gem. It's inside of our gem file, but there's a few, we needed to run the simple form generator. So before we do that, let's do a git status. All right, I'm just going to do a git commit with the message add articles model controller views. Git status. Whoops, git. Forgot to add the file, so I'm going to do that again. Git add dot. All right, now git status. There we go. So git commit -am add model controller views. There we go. Okay, so from here, let's go back to Ruby Gems simple form, and let's go to the simple form homepage. So after you add the simple form gem and run bundle install, we need to run Rails generate simple form :install. But since we are going to use Bootstrap for this application, I'm going to use the -- bootstrap flag. So I'm just going to copy that, paste that in. So Rails generate simple form :install. All right. So real quick, I'm just going to restart my server. Now, I believe if I refresh, I shouldn't get the undefined method. Oh, duh. Okay, so it says simple for form. That is not right. So let's go back and tweak that. So it should be simple form for. Refresh. There we go. All right, so shows a new article. It's grabbing those, but these are not being printed out. So let's change that. Save, refresh. There we go. So we have the title, the content, and our button. So inside of our controller, we have @article equal article.new with article params. We're permitting the title and the content. And we do have our model set up. So let's go ahead and try to create a new article. If this does work, which it should take us to the show page and give us an error for the template is missing because we do not have a show page just yet. So let's do a test article and content, blah, blah, blah. All right, create article. All right, so we get an unknown action. The action show could not be found for articles controller. But if you look in the URL, it does say localhost /articles/1, so that is good. So back in our articles controller, let's define the show. So we'll do def show end, and then below here, let's create another private method. We'll say def find article end, and then inside here, we want to do @article equals article.find by params square brackets :id. Then up top, what we want to do is before underscore action, find article. And then we only want this on the show. We also will want this on the edit edit and destroy as well, but I will leave that until we get to that. All right, so let's refresh. All right, so now the template is missing. Perfect. So let's go ahead and create that new template. So articles or views articles. Let's create a new file. Call this show.html.haml. All right, and just to quickly test this out, let's throw up an h1 tag and print out the @article.title, and then we'll put a p tag, and we'll do @article.content. Save that, refresh. There we go. So now this is grabbing the content from our model and displaying it inside of our views. And that is all because of the controller. It is finding that particular article from the find article private method. And it is showing it on our view. Perfect. So in addition to the show, I'm just going to add a link. I'm just going to do link _to back. And we'll get rid of this for now, but just so we can easily navigate back and forth. Back, and we'll go to root path. Save that. There we go. All right, so let's do one last thing. Let's make it a little bit easier to create a new article from the home page. So let's go to the index.html.haml. Let's add a link to new article. And this will go to the new article path _path. And I'm actually not quite sure if that's the correct route. So I'm going to go to my terminal and do rake routes. And this will print out all of the routes for us. So the new article, yeah, it's a new article with the path. All right, so let's refresh that. Whoops, save that file, refresh. There we go. Cool, so let's create another one. See, this is another article for my wiki app. And then I'm just going to go to hipsteripsum.co and grab some filler text. So let's grab a couple paragraphs, copy that, go back, paste it in, create article. Very cool. So now what I want to do, let's do a quick git status. Okay, so I'm going to do git add dot git commit, and we'll say what we've done. We installed simple form and created article show pages. There we go. So now, next I want to list out all of the articles on the article homepage, or on the root of the application. So let's go back to the index.html.haml. Let's do a loop. So we'll do @articles .each do, and we'll do article. And then inside of that, for each article, we want to do an h2, and we'll do article.title, and then add a p tag, and we'll say published at, and then we will do the article.created at .strf time, and we'll do a bit of regex. We'll do %b, %d, %y. All right, so let's save that and go back and refresh. All right, no method error article or .each for the articles. And that is because inside of our controller, we have not defined what @articles is. So let's do that. @articles equals article.all, and let's do .order, and we'll order them by created at descending. So save that, go back to the home page, refresh. All right, so we still have the placeholder. So now we have the title and the published at date. So it's published November 1st, 2014. Very cool. And where's the article index? All right, so the lowercase b does the month in short form, and then the day, and then the year in full. All right, so in addition to that, I want to add a little preview for our article. So I'm going to do article.content. So let's save that, refresh, see if it works. Oops, oh, we need to print out. There we go. Okay, so that does work, but I want to limit the length of the article. So I'm going to try something. Let's wrap this, and we'll do truncate article.content. We'll do length is 200. I believe that's the correct usage. So let's see, refresh. Syntax error. Unexpected. Oh, okay. I think it's this. So it should be length : 200. Refresh. There it is. Okay, so after the 200 characters, it does a ... for us. Very cool. So I'm gonna go ahead and remove the placeholder, so it just lists out the articles. All right, so let's do a git status showing what we've done. Let's do a git commit -am, and we will say loop articles on index. Alrighty. So the next thing I want to do is add or set up Devise for our users, so that only a signed in user is able to add or edit and destroy an article. So let's go to Devise gem. Let's go to the GitHub page. So under the getting started section, so we did gem Devise. So let's next Rails generate Devise install. So let's run that command, and then it gives us a few things that we need to do to set up Devise. So the first thing is we need to add this line, configure action mailer, So we have to define a default URL option in our environments file. So let's go back to Sublime under config environments development.rb. I'm just going to add that line to the bottom. I'll add a little quote or a comment saying needed for Devise. Paste that in, save that. All right, next, number 2 says ensure you have defined a root URL, which we have. If you open up the roots.rb file, we routed it to the articles controller index action. So that is good. Next, we need to ensure we have flash messages inside of our application.html.erb. So I will just copy these for now. So let me close out of these so we don't have a million things open. So under our views, layouts, application.html.erb, we will be changing this to .haml, but for now I'm just going to add the alerts beneath the body, but above the yield. So let's save that. All right, next, step 4, if you're deploying to Heroku with Rails 3.2, which we are not, so I'm going to skip that. And then you can copy the Devise views for customization by running Rails G Devise views. So I think I do want to play around with the way those views look. So let's do Rails G Devise views. All right, so the next thing we want to do, if you go back to the documentation, we need to add a model for our users. So it says Rails generate Devise model, and obviously we want to replace the model name with the application, or with the name of the model we want to use. In this case, we're going to use user. So what I'm going to do is back here, let's do Rails generate Devise user. All right, and then from here, let's do rake db:/migrate to migrate our database. All right, so now if we go back to our wiki application, we'll go to /users/signup. Let's see, undefined method Devise. Let's restart our server real quick. All right, refresh, there we go. So now we have the ability to create a new user. So let's go ahead and create one. I'm just going to use my email, hey@mckinseychild.me, password. And let's sign up. Cool. So now it says, welcome, you've successfully signed up. If you wanted to check that, you can go into the Rails console. Let's just do user. We have to do user.connection to establish a connection. Right, so now if we do user.count, we see we have 1. So if we do user.first, there we go. So ID of 1, email is hey@mckinseychild.me, password's encrypted as it should be, and then it says the all the other information like created at, updated at, etc. So now let's go back to our application. Actually, no, go back to the terminal, get out of the Rails console, and let's do git status. All right, we're gonna do git add dot git commit with the message add Devise and generate user model. All right. So that is good. So next, what we want to do is add an association between the article model and the user model. So in our article model, let's open that up, as well as the user model. Let's do a few things. So what we're going to do is an article has _mini. Actually, no, I'm sorry. A article belongs _to a user. And then a user, if we go down to the bottom, a user has many articles. There we go. So this association is set up, but what we still need to do is create a migration to add a user ID to the articles table in our database. So what we want to do is Rails generate migration, and we will do add user underscore ID to articles. And the user underscore ID is going to be an integer. And let's also throw in the option of index. All right, so hit enter. Now, if you want to take a look, that is under DB migrate. It's the last one. So what it's doing is adding a column to the articles table of the user ID. Very cool. So I'm going to go back and hit rake db :migrate. All right, so now that that is done, next thing we want to do is build out a new article from the current user. So to do that, let's go back to Sublime. And inside of our article controller, I'm just going to search for it by doing Command T. I'll do article controller. All right, so we need to tweak the def new and the def create a bit to get this to work. So what we're going to do is at article equals current underscore user dot article dot articles dot build, and then the same for the create method, but we're going to keep the article params. So current user dot article dot param. So we can test this out by going to our Rails console. Let's grab the latest article. So I'm going to do at article equals article dot last. All right, and you can see the user ID at the very end is nil. So let's try creating a new article, which should have a user ID of 1. So let's do one last article. Go back to the hipster ipsum, grab the text, paste that in, create article. All right, so now back in our console, let's do at article equals article.last. There you go. One last article has a user ID of 1, so that is working correctly. So while I'm in the Rails console, I'm going to do at article equals article.first, grab the first article, then I'll do at article dot user underscore ID equals 1. And then I'll do at article dot save. There we go. Then we'll do the same for the second article, at article equals article, and we'll do dot find to, and then we will do at article dot user underscore ID equals 1, and then at article dot save. All right, so the first two articles we created now have the user ID of 1, and any articles we create from here on out will have the article ID of whichever user creates that. Did I say article ID? I meant user ID of whichever user creates it. So next thing we want to do is commit what we've done. So I'm going to get out of the Rails console, clear it, let's do a git status. So I'm going to do a git add dot get commit with the message add association between user and article. Okay, so next let's add some authentication. So back in our articles controller, let's add another before action. We're going to do before underscore action, and we're going to do authenticate underscore user exclamation point. And we're going to do except for the index and the show. So what this means, we're getting this for free from Devise. So what this does is if a user who is not signed in tries to do anything other than view the index or the show, for example, if they try to create a new article they will be rerouted to the sign up page. So let's test this out. Let's, if we create a new article, we should get that just fine. Let's copy the localhost, go incognito, paste that. Now, if I click new article, I should go to the sign up page. Undefined method articles for no class. Oh, okay. I didn't actually save the articles controller, so let's save that and try it again. Refresh the incognito window. There we go. So now it redirects us to the login page before we're able to go to the article/new. So that works exactly how we want. Very cool. So now that we are able to add an article from our users, or build an article from the current user, let's do one last thing before we move on, and let's only show the new article link if the user is signed in. So back in our views, index.html.haml, we're going to throw up a bit of Ruby code around this, and we'll do, all right, we're going to do if user underscore signed underscore in question mark. We'll do link to new article. So let's save that, go back and refresh. So we are signed in. If we go back and open up the incognito window, go to localhost, you can see that the new article link is gone. So that works just how we want. Perfect. So let's do a git status. All right, git commit -am add authentication. Actually, we'll do add user authentication. There we go. All right, so the next thing we need to do is add categories to our articles. All right, so to do that, I'm going to create a model for our categories. So we're going to have specific categories. So a user isn't going to be able to create a category, but they are going to be able to pick a category to choose which section of the site their article goes into. So to do this, let's start by doing Rails generate model category, and this is just going to be a name, and the name is going to be a string. And then after that, let's do rake db:/migrate to migrate that the database. All right, so the next thing we need to do is add a category ID to our articles table. And that is because we want to associate the categories to the articles. All right, so to do that, let's add a migration. So we'll do Rails generate migration. We'll do add underscore category underscore ID underscore to underscore articles. And category underscore ID is an integer. All right, so let's hit enter. And then if you wanted to view that, you can go under DB, and it's the last migration. All this does is add a column to the articles table, and that column is category ID, which is a integer. Cool. Let me quickly close these up so it's a little cleaner. There we go. And I'll close out of these for now. So let's do another rake db migrate to run that migration. All right. So after that, let's add a association between a category and an article. So inside of Sublime, let's go under app models. Let's open up category.rb and article.rb. So we're going to do an article belongs underscore to a category. Let's save that. And then a category has many articles. All right, and then let's pop into the Rails console, by doing Rails C. I'll just clear this out. So in here, we're going to create a few categories to work with. So let's call category. Let's do category.connection to establish a connection first. All right, now if we do category, all right, it shows that a category is an integer name and then the created at, updated at. All right, so that's pretty simple. Let's create a new category by doing category.create, parentheses, we'll do name, and let's just call this category arts. Well, art. Very cool. And then let's do another one, category.create, do name, let's call this one technology, if I could spell. And then maybe one more, category.create, name, what should this last one be? How about politics? Politics, I think that's spelled right. All right, so category.count. So now we have 3 different categories created. Awesome, awesome. Let's quickly check the articles. So I'm gonna grab do @article equals article.last. All right, very cool. So you can see at the very end, the category ID is nil. So what we'll want to do is make sure that when we create a new a new article, that the category ID is filled in with one of these categories that we just created. All right, so let's go back to Sublime Text. And what we want to do is open up our views, articles, and the form. And inside of here, we want to add a f.collection. So we're going to add a select, so collection underscore select of the category ID. And what this is going to do is loop through all of the categories by the ID and the name. And then we're going to prompt the user, to choose a category. There we go. So I will save that. And let's go to a new article, and see. Awesome. So we have the different, so it's looping through all the categories we added. Before we create a new article to test that this works, there's one last thing we need to do, and that is go under controllers, articles controller, and we need to permit the category ID so that it gets saved to the database. Otherwise, Rails 4 will ignore it. So we'll add category underscore ID, save that. So let's go back, refresh, and test it out. So I'm just going to say technology, title, Apple Watch. Let's go back, grab some filler text, paste that in, create article. All right, now let's go back and pop into our console, and we'll do @article equals article.last. Very cool. So you can see at the very end, we're grabbing the Apple Watch article we just created, and the very end category ID, which is 2. And if you go look up above, that is the second one we created. So the technology category has an ID of 2. Very cool. So everything's working correctly. I want to do articles.all. Article.all. So article.count. How many articles do we have? So we have 4. So I'm going to do @article equals article.first. Grab that. Then I'm going to do @article dot category underscore ID and equal that to 1. Then @article check that. All right, so now I'm going to do the same for the second and the third. I'll do at article.find to, then at article.category ID equals, let's say that's 3, and at article equals article.find and 3. Then at article equals at article.category ID equals, I'll just say this is 1 again. Cool. So now at article. Okay. So now each article we have created so far, so let's go back, has a category associated to it. And any new article we create will have a category as well. So the next thing we want to do is list out all the categories. So let me close these real quick. I'm going to go under Views, Layouts, application.html.erb. I'm going to quickly change this to a .haml extension and then convert the text. So let's change it to the Ruby HAML syntax highlighting as well. So we're going to do ## for the doc type, HTML, %head, and then %title, and we'll just call this wiki. Then I'm just going to copy these and then remove the unnecessary opening and closing. And then I know the indentation is going to be messed up, so I'm going to fix that now. I'm just going to backspace these and hit enter. That will fix it. All right. So the next thing we need is a body. So we'll go 1 indentation down. Then below that, we'll add a p .notice to have that in, and then we'll print out the notice. And then we'll do p.alert, and we'll do the same for the alert. And then below that, we'll do a yield. And then I believe that's everything. So let's delete what we had. Next, I want to, above the yield, let's, actually we can put it below the yield. Let's loop through all of the categories. So what I'm going to do is category.all.each do. I'm going to do category. And below that, we're going to do a link to category, if I could type, category.name, and we're going to go to the articles path with the category and the category.name. So let's save that and go back and refresh, see if we get any errors, which we do not. So now what this is doing, if you look, well, I'll just hit 1. It's not going to work, but you can see it adds the question mark category equals art. So what we need to do next is go into our controllers. So app controllers and our articles controller. And what we're going to do is tweak the way the def index is laid out. So basically we want, if there's no category selected in the URL, we want to list out all of the articles. If not, we want to only list out the articles specific to that category. So how we'll do this, we'll do if params category dot blank. We will do at articles equals article.all, else we'll do category at category ID equals category dot find underscore by. Find by the name, and we'll do params of category, and then we'll do dot ID, and then we'll do at article or at articles equals article dot where the category underscore ID is at category ID. And then we'll order these same as above, so we can just copy this, the create at descending. All right, so let's save that and go back, refresh. Unexpected syntax error. Whoops, we forgot to end this. Duh. There we go. Refresh. Cool. So now if we go to technology, you see the Apple Watch. Very cool. Politics. Well, maybe we don't have any on politics. Let me select the third one. This is a political article. Let me grab the filler text, paste that. Now if we go back, go to politics. Very cool. So the art, I thought we had one under art. Let's go back to localhost. So I'm going to, real quick, let's go back to the index and let's change the title to a link to, and we'll link the title to the article path, I believe. There we go, it's just article. So the first one, test article. So let's go back to our Rails console, reload at article equals article.first. Oh, you know what? It didn't save all that stuff that we did before. Let me redo that real quick. So at article equals article, at article dot category underscore ID equals 1. And now we'll do at article dot save. So the test article should now be under the art. So let's go back, refresh, go to art. There we go. Okay, so it was just a mess up on my end. So at article equals article dot find. We'll find the second one. And now we'll do at article equals, or at article category underscore ID equals 3. At article dot save. And then the last one was, this is another article, so that should be politics. Very cool. And one last article, at article equals article dot find 3. And we'll just say at article dot category ID equals 2. At article dot save. All right, so now we should be good. So if we filter between these, it shows just the articles that are created. Very cool. So inside of Sublime, let's also do one last thing. Inside the application.html.haml, before we loop through all of these, let's just add a UL. Actually, let's add a UL. And then below that, we'll add a LI, and I'm just going to link to all of the different categories, or no, yeah, all the articles, all articles. And then this is going to go to the root path. And then we're going to loop through all the categories. And then we'll tab that over and we'll do a %li. So now each one is in a li, and we have the additional one to go to all articles. Let's go back, refresh. All articles. Very cool. So that is working great. So we have the ability to create an article, add a category for that specific article, or assign a category to that article. There's a few last things I want to do. You can see we don't have the ability to edit or destroy an article. So I'm going to do that. And then after we do that, we will go ahead and start styling this application. So let's get out of the Rails console, do a git status because we've done quite a bit. So what we're going to do is git commit, we'll do a git add dot to add all the untracked files. Do git commit with the message, add categories to articles. Git status. All right, we're on a clean directory. Good to go. All right, so let's add the ability to edit and destroy an article. So let's go back to Sublime and our articles controller. So we have def show. Let's go below the def create. We'll do def edit end, def update end, and then def destroy end. So the article, so for these three, we need to find the article we're editing or destroying. So in the before action, let's add those up here. So we're going to add edit, update, and destroy. Save that. So now for the edit, all we need to do is find the article, and that's taken care of right here. For the update, there's a little bit more to it. We need to do if at article.save with the if article.update with the article params, we're going to redirect to the article. Else we'll render new or edit, end. And then the destroy, we're just going to, we already found the article we want to destroy. So we'll just do at article.destroy. Then we'll just redirect to, should be to, not do. And let's just redirect to the root path. So save that. Let's go to our views. So our views articles show.html.erb. Let's add the ability to delete it. So I'm going to add another link to edit, and this is going to go to the edit article path, and we'll grab the article. So save that. Let's go to an article and test it out. So here we are. Template is missing, but it does go to article/1/edit, which is good. So let's create the the edit article or template. Save. Well, this will be edit.html.yaml. And then this is pretty much going to be the same as new. So I'm just going to copy this, paste it in, change it to edit article, refresh. Very cool. So let's test that this can be updated. So the title, let's change this to this is an updated title. Update article, we go back and the title is updated. Beautiful. So let's add the ability to delete it. So inside of our views, go back to Sublime, inside the show page, let's add a last one. We'll do a link to, we'll say delete, and then this is going to go to the article path. We'll grab the article, and then this is going to be a method of delete. And we're going to add data, and we're going to confirm that they want to delete the article. Confirm, are you sure? Question mark. Save that, refresh. So let's try to delete it. So let's hit delete. Are you sure? Yes. Sweet. So it takes us back to the root path and that article has disappeared. Very cool. So I'm going to go back to terminal, do git status. I'm going to do git add dot, add the edit file, git commit with the message, edit and destroy articles. Cool. So next, let's start styling. Because obviously this looks pretty terrible. So again, just like last week, I'm going to kind of make this up as I go. There's not really much of a plan for this style or for how this app looks. So let's go to Git Bootstrap. And then also we'll do the bootstrap-sass gem. And let's find the GitHub page for that. All right, so to get Bootstrap going, we already have it in our gem file. So let's grab the @import bootstrap sprockets and @import bootstrap. So let's close these. Go under app, assets, style sheets, application.css. First thing we need to do is rename this application.css.scss. And then below the comments, we'll add @import bootstrap sprockets and bootstrap. Then we also need to require bootstrap sprockets in our JS file. So app assets JavaScript application.js. I'll just add this below the jQuery stuff. Save that. Now if we go back and refresh, you'll see it already takes effect. So it adds the colors and the fonts and such. So let's add some structure to this. So if we go to the grid system under getbootstrap.com, let's add, so a container, rows must be placed inside of a container or a container fluid. Let's just add it to the container since that's pretty easy. All right, so close these. I'm going to go to the application.yaml file under our view layouts. I'm going to wrap the yield around a .container. Save that. Let's go back and refresh. You can see it's indented a bit. So inside of our container, I actually want to do let's do a .row, and then let's see. Let's do a column MD-8 for our article, and then column MD-4. So that for the content, and then go back column MD4, and we'll do, let's copy this, go back, paste it, and then make sure it's indented correctly. Save that, go back and refresh. Very cool. So now all of these are listed out right here, and then all the articles are listed out by the side. But I actually want to flip these, so I like that even less. Let's undo that. Okay, so that's good. Let's maybe add a navigation or a navbar up top. So let's go up to components and then navbar. And let's look through these. We do want a navbar fixed to top. So I'm just going to grab this right here. So right below the body, let's paste that in. Change this to %. And then this is going to be .navbar. .navbar default, .navbar fixed top, and then we'll just delete the rest. And then this is going to be a .container. All right, so what do we want inside of our header? Let's go up top. So I know we want a brand, so I believe that is this right here. So let's copy that. Actually, let's add a link to, let's see, what should this be called? I'll just say wiki, and we'll go to the root path, and then we're going to add a class of navbar brand. There we go. So let's delete that. Go back, refresh, syntax error, inconsistent indentation for the container. All right. Let's delete that. Hit enter. .container. Tab that in. There we go. Cool. So now the wiki is showing up. Let's also add a button for the new articles. So go back to Bootstrap. It says how to do that right here. So it's a UL, and we're doing navbar right. So I'll just copy that. UL navbar and navbar right. And then %. And then the LI is going to be a link to a new article, and we'll go to the new article path. Save and refresh. Very cool. So that works. I only want this to show up if the user signed in. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to wrap some Ruby code around this. If user signed in ? We'll display this. So let's go to incognito to make sure that works. Very cool. So they don't have the option to create a new article anymore. Very cool. All right, so all of these are listed out. The structures, well, it's better than it was before. Let's just do a few more things. I'm not going to go too deep into the styling of this, but let's style some buttons. So button group, what I want to do is copy all this stuff, and then in our show page, let's add a button group to this. So I'm just going to add that below for reference. So we want a class of btn-group. And then inside of here, all those tabbed in, we're going to add a class of btn and btn-default. So I'm going to copy this, add it to right here and right here, and then we'll delete this stuff. Now let's go back to the show page, refresh. All right, that looks a little bit better. Let's see if Bootstrap has anything for lists. Oh, they do. So let's do the same for our categories. So let's go back to the application.yaml file. Add that below for reference. So the UL, it needs a class of list group. And then each of the LIs need a list group item class. So let's add class of list group item. And I believe I can just paste that here as well. So let's remove that, go back and refresh. Cool, but it still has, let's see if it's getting overridden. It is not. I'm not quite sure why it's not working correctly. So it should not be showing the list item. Let's see where that's coming from. So inspect element, go to the LI or the UL. So it doesn't say an LI. Let's go to list group, do list style none. I'm just going to add that right here because I'm not sure why that's happening. List style none. Save that, refresh. There we go. You can see it's a little funky still. I'm not quite sure why that's happening. All right, so this is pretty cool. There's no category in the art. So this looks pretty good. A few last things. Let's remove this from the index. So let's go to the index template and we'll remove the if user signed in. Refresh. There we go. I also want to add some things so this doesn't show up if the user is not signed in. So what I'll do, and also we only want the user who created this article to be able to edit and destroy it. So actually no, Wikipedia is anyone can edit. So I'll just make sure they're signed in. So we'll go to the show page and we'll add some conditional if user signed in. We'll show the edit and destroy. Refresh. Now let's go to incognito mode. All right, so it doesn't show up. Very cool. So it doesn't look the greatest, but all the functionality is there, which I'm pretty happy about. So we're able to add, edit, and destroy an article, assign that article to a category, and then based on that, we're able to filter between them. Very cool. Sweet guys, with that we are all finished building our Wikipedia type application. I hope you enjoyed this week's build, and as always, if you have any questions or comments, just reach out to me on Twitter. It's at McKinseyChild, and if you want to follow along for more, just subscribe below or sign up for my newsletter on my website at mckinseychild.me. All right, see you guys next week.